The militaries of South Korea and the United States began their annual joint exercise today to prepare against North Korea's nuclear attack scenarios. President Yoon doubled down on the need for readiness against false information. The leaders of Seoul, Washington, and Tokyo reaffirmed their cooperation, marking 1 year since the Camp David summit. Over in the U.S., the Democratic National Convention is set to kick off in Chicago on Monday. The latest polls show Vice President Kamala Harris leading former President Donald Trump nationwide. It's August 19th, 6 p.m. in Seoul. This is Newscenter. Thank you for joining us. I'm Yoon Min. The Allies' key annual military training kicked off today, seeking to strengthen their defense posture against North Korea's potential nuclear attacks. Our correspondent Yoon starts our coverage.
A major combined military exercise between Seoul and Washington officially kicked off on Monday. The 11-day Ulji Freedom Shield exercise that's set to take place in South Korea until next Thursday includes computer-based simulation and combined field training exercises, focusing on bolstering the Allies' defense posture against threats from Pyongyang. It also includes civil defense drills involving government agencies, with exercises that simulate a nuclear attack from North Korea for the first time this year.
We will conduct training aimed at responding to North Korean nuclear threats with regional units taking part in government drills.
South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff also said this year's exercise will involve some 19,000 South Korean troops and that it plans to carry out more combined field training. There will be a total of 48 outdoor drills, which is 10 more than last year, including field maneuvers and live-fire exercises. The military also said the exercise will further strengthen the Allies' capability and readiness to defend against North Korea's weapons of mass destruction by utilizing a variety of assets across all domains, including space.
We do incorporate space-type elements into the exercise, such as GPS jamming and cyber attacks.
Meanwhile, military officials from Seoul and Washington are watching closely for a potential provocation from North Korea, as Pyongyang has been strongly criticizing the large-scale military exercises, calling them a rehearsal for an invasion. Yoon, Arirang News.
With the beginning of the Allies' military exercise, South Korea's commander-in-chief urged the authorities to raise the will of the people to resist North Korea's psychological warfare and fight against fake news. Our presidential office correspondent Kim Do-yeon reports.
With the start of the Ulji Freedom Shield military exercise, President Yoon emphasized its importance, repeating the message that anti-state forces are operating in the dark throughout society to divide South Korea and confuse its people.
먼저 허위 정보와 가짜 뉴스 유포, 사이버 공격과 같은 북한의 회색지대 도발에 대한 대응 태세를 강화해야 합니다. 우리 사회 내부에는 자유민주주의 체제를 위협하는 반국가 세력들이 곳곳에서 암약하고 있습니다.
The comments came on Monday as he opened a cabinet meeting that kicked off the Ulji Freedom Shield exercise. This is his third such exercise, and while his opening message was similar to previous ones, it was his first time calling for the government to come up with measures to raise the will of the public to, quote, resist the propaganda by the North.
북한은 개전 초기부터 이들을 동원하여 폭력과 여론몰이 그리고 선전, 선동으로 국민적 혼란을 가중하고 국론 분열을 꾀할 것입니다. 이러한 혼란과 분열을 차단하고 전 국민의 항전 의지를 높일 수 있는 방안을 적극 강구해야 합니다.
As he has been saying previously, Yoon said war could break out at any time, and wars come in different forms than in the past and require a nationwide effort to protect the nation. And with the nationwide civil defense exercise coming up on Thursday as part of the Ulji Freedom Shield, Yoon requested that the public follow the government's instructions during evacuation and traffic control training. Meanwhile, the top office also said that before the cabinet meeting, Yoon presided over a National Security Council meeting for the practice at the National Crisis Management Center and reviewed the nation's war preparedness and the wartime transition procedures of each department. On top of the encouragement for the exercise, Yoon also requested that safety measures be kept in mind for those participating in the exercise. Kim Do-yeon, Arirang News.
Marking 1 year since the Camp David summit, the leaders of South Korea, the U.S. and Japan reaffirmed their cooperation to tackle regional and global challenges. Our senior correspondent Oh Soo-young explains.
The leaders of South Korea, the United States and Japan reaffirmed their resolve to tackling North Korea's nuclear threat and other regional and global challenges as they seek to preserve commitments made at their Camp David summit last year. In a joint statement to mark 1 year since their first ever standalone trilateral meeting, President Yoon Suk-yeol, US President Joe Biden and Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida on Sunday said they remain inspired by the spirit of Camp David and the Camp David principles as a roadmap for cooperation, as well as the commitment to consult on threats and challenges to their collective interests and security.
Previously limited to traditional security areas, the scope of trilateral cooperation has become comprehensive to include economic security, advanced technology, cybersecurity, development, and human exchanges.
According to Seoul's Deputy National Security Advisor Kim Tae-ho, major achievements include a real-time system for sharing North Korean missile warning information, the first ever multi-domain Freedom Edge exercise between their militaries, and the establishment of a trilateral security cooperation framework. The three countries have also been making progress on economic security dialogue, early warning systems to stabilize supply chains, space security dialogue, quantum research, and youth exchanges. The most significant outcome of the Camp David summit has been to set in stone that trilateral cooperation by establishing annual meetings between leaders, national security advisors, and ministers of foreign affairs, defense, and trade. Such efforts to institutionalize the Camp David framework are becoming all the more important, as Japan and the US will have new leaders take office in the coming months.
This trilateral cooperation was attainable under the top-down approach, which was initiated by three leaders. In this sense, if domestic politics are changed, this architecture might be affected. In short, this type of top-down approach is rarely expected any longer if three leaders are gone or become weaker in their political power. In this vein, a key question should be whether a bottom-up approach can function as an alternative to a top-down approach in the era of post-three leaders.
A senior Korean official on Sunday said Washington and Tokyo value the importance of the South Korea-US alliance and South Korea-Japan relations, as well as the significance of Camp David, indicating that their support for the Camp David mechanism remains sturdy, regardless of political changes. Still, the official acknowledged the need to create the institutional infrastructure to ensure the three-way partnership is stable in the mid to long term, adding that the three governments are sharing their views on launching a trilateral cooperation secretariat. While discussions on holding a leaders' summit are in the early stages, the annual gathering is likely to take place on the sidelines of a multilateral conference later this year. Oh Soo-young, Arirang News.
Turning to internal politics, with opposition leader Lee Jae-myung again elected as the leader of Democratic Party, he and the ruling party leader Han Dong-hoon have agreed to meet for talks on Sunday, likely to discuss improving people's livelihoods. Our Lee Si-hoo has this report.
The leaders of the ruling People Power Party and the main opposition Democratic Party of Korea are set to sit down for face-to-face talks at the National Assembly this Sunday. DP lawmaker Lee Hae-sik told reporters on Monday that the meeting is scheduled for 3 in the afternoon. No specific agendas nor list of attendees are set for now. This follows the recently elected DP chairman Lee Jae-myung's suggestion for leaders' talks after he secured a record-high majority against the other two candidates at Sunday's DP National Convention. In his acceptance speech, Lee proposed face-to-face talks with President Yoon Suk-yeol and also separately his counterpart, the PPP chairman Han Dong-hoon, to, quote, take care of people's lives.
I suggest leadership talks with the People Power Party's chairman Han Dong-hoon. Let's discuss urgent issues candidly.
Han responded to Lee's suggestion favorably. On Monday, the ruling party leader recently elected himself and just a month into his role, congratulated Lee on his win. Han welcomed the suggestion and said they should set a time and place in short time.
I expect candid discussions regarding people's livelihoods and pending political issues in the near future will lead to practical results.
The PPP's priorities are in discussing livelihood and policy issues that both the government and the ruling party are pushing for, such as the abolition of financial investment income tax, reforms on real estate and inheritance tax rules, and more support for the domestic semiconductor industry. But the first thing DP wants to discuss is starting a special prosecution probe into the death of a Marine, Corporal Che, during a search operation last year, something they've tried through legislative action, but to no avail amid ruling party disapproval, and providing relief vouchers for all people of South Korea. Despite the differences, however, the rival parties' mutual will to tackle livelihoods issues will likely lead to them meeting somewhere halfway. Both Han and Lee have said they are open to a range of agendas that will help improve people's lives. Lee Si-hu, Arirang News.
In the U.S., the latest public poll shows Vice President Kamala Harris racing ahead of her rival Donald Trump as her party's national convention is set to start later today. Lee Seung-jae has more.
Just a day before the Democratic Party's national convention kicks off in Chicago on Monday, another nationwide poll on the upcoming U.S. presidential election shows Vice President Kamala Harris leading former President Donald Trump. In the poll conducted jointly by Washington Post, ABC, and Ipsos on 2,335 adults nationwide from August 9th to the 13th and released on Sunday, the Harris-Walz camp leads the Trump-Vance camp 49% to 45% among registered voters, while the vice president has a 51% to 45% lead over Trump among likely voters. However, the latest poll shows that Trump leads Harris when it comes to some key issues in the United States. Respondents believe that Trump would do a better job in dealing with issues like the economy, inflation, immigration, and the prolonged conflict in the Middle East. When it comes to other issues like healthcare, abortion, and race relations, Harris has a double-digit lead over Trump. The latest poll also shows that Harris is enjoying growing support from swing voters. While Trump previously had a 4 percentage point lead over Joe Biden from independents in July, Sunday's poll showed that Harris has an 11 percentage point lead over Trump. Considered the classic swing voters, independents have gone with the winner in 9 of the last 12 presidential elections. Harris has seen slight leads over Trump in a number of other nationwide polls, but many pundits believe it's still too close to predict the outcome of November's election. While Harris officially won the Democratic presidential nomination in an online vote 2 weeks ago, she will accept the party's nomination and give her acceptance speech on Thursday, the last day of the 4-day national convention. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
Back here in Korea, the government's second round of recruitment for trainee doctors for the second half of this year has seen just 21 additional applications. The Health Ministry announced this on Monday after the additional round of recruitment closed last week. Out of the new applicants, 7 applied to the so-called Big 5 hospitals in Seoul. Adding to those that had already applied in the first round brings the total number of trainee applications to only 125, which is less than 2% of the recruitment quota. Each training hospital is to select successful candidates, as the training period for the second half is to start on September 1st. Tackling difficulties in childcare and educational expenses have been among the most pressing concerns in the country. To this end, the Neulbom School program for first graders has been introduced, and now it's being expanded across the nation. Our Yoon, he is evaluating the major changes this program brings to students.
On a weekday during summer vacation, first graders at an elementary school in Gyeonggi-do province are engaging in a variety of activities. This is part of the Neulbom School program, introduced in March of this year and expanded in the second semester to provide education and care services for elementary students before and after regular school hours. Education reform implemented by the South Korean government this year has made significant strides to address childcare challenges and ease the financial burden on families by integrating existing childcare services and after-school activities into Neulbom School. Currently, Neulbom programs are available to all first graders for free, unlike existing childcare services and after-school programs. Most importantly, the operating hours are longer, starting as early as 7 a.m. and running until 8 p.m. as needed. Songlin Elementary School is focused on providing a wide variety of classes that cater to the needs of students, spanning from dance to computer programming.
Surveys of parents showed a strong interest in more diverse programs, including more physical activities and better support for students to adjust to school. The launch of the Neulbom School program has allowed us to address many of these suggestions, which is very fulfilling as a program coordinator. I'm growing more confident in our school.
Following its trial run last year, Songlin Elementary School was awarded with an Excellence Award from the Ministry of Education. Through planning and preparation, the school made key adjustments to better run the program. To ensure the success of the program, it is important to address several concerns, including shortages of classrooms and teachers. Let's see some approaches to address these issues.
Using the same classrooms for the new after-school programs caused inconvenience, as teachers had to clear their classrooms. This year, we reviewed available spaces, repurposed small and underutilized rooms, and changed the classroom furniture to meet special needs. Now, regular classes and after-school programs run smoothly without conflict.
To address teacher shortages, the school brought in instructors from the city's dance association.
Whacking is the most fun dance. I'm excited to come to school for dance class. Dancing is really fun.
As part of its Neulbom program, Songlin Elementary School is already expanding its range of programs to include students from other grades. Cheerleading is one of the programs.
At first, being the only guy made me worried about feeling left out, but everyone has been very supportive, and practice has been a lot of fun. I'm excited to continue cheerleading in the future.
With collaborative efforts from both the government and schools, Duom School will expand to include second graders by 2025 and serve all elementary grades by 2026. Eang, Arirang News.
Time now to take a look at what's been happening in the world of sports. Joining us in the studio is our sports editor, Paul Need. Hello, Paul.
Hello there.
Let's start with the South Korean Baseball League. The KBO set a new single-season attendance record on Sunday.
Yes, that's right, 8.47 million. This beats the previous record set in 2017. The Korea Baseball Organization announced that on Sunday alone, over 91,000 spectators gathered across 5 stadiums around the country. This was enough to set the new record, which comes with about 80% of the 720 games played so far, with 147 still to go. And despite the ongoing heat wave across South Korea, the season is expected to reach 10 million spectators for the very first time. Meanwhile, Kim Do-young of the Akita Tigers on Thursday became the youngest member of the 30-30 club, 30 home runs and 30 steals in a single season. The 20-year-old hit his 30th home run of 2024 in the Tigers' 12-1 win over the Akium Heroes. He had already recorded over 30 steals. The previous record was held by Park Jae-hong in 1996 at 22 years, 11 months and 27 days.
Right, staying with the baseball, but moving on to MLB, a new milestone for Kim Ha-sung.
Yes, he's now third among all South Koreans in terms of home runs in MLB. Kim Ha-sung hit his 47th homer on Saturday in the San Diego Padres' eventual 7-3 loss to the Colorado Rockies. It ended a 2-month dry spell and was his 11th of the current season. He has now overtaken Kang Jung-ho, formerly of the Pittsburgh Pirates, and is behind Chu Shin-soo with 218 and Che Ji-man with 67. But Kim was taken off during Sunday's game with shoulder discomforts, and according to Yonhap on Monday, Kim could be added to the injured list for the first time since moving to MLB. His team currently sits second in the National League West, behind the LA Dodgers.
And now let's talk about football. Eang is off the mark already.
Yes, he scored in Paris Saint-Germain's 4-1 win over Le Havre. He opened the scoring just 3 minutes into Paris Saint-Germain's opening game of the season on Friday, reacting the fastest to a cross from Gonzalo Ramos and finding the top right-hand corner. The French champions were pegged back 2 minutes into the second half, but 3 goals in the last 6 minutes earned a resounding victory. He is now in his second season in France. He scored 5 and assisted 5 last year in all competitions. Meanwhile, in England, Hwang Hee-chan and Wolverhampton Wanderers began the new Premier League season with a defeat, losing 2-0 away to Arsenal on Saturday. Hwang played the full 90 minutes from right wing. And Son Heung-min and Tottenham Hotspur get their campaign up and running on Monday night UK time. They take on Leicester City away from home.
And finally to the KLPGA, in intense heat, Bae So-hyun emerged victorious at the Heavens Masters.
Yes, and after a 3-round playoff too, no less. On the final day at the Heaven Country Club in Ansan, Bae tied at 15 under par 201 with So Ji-yoon and Hwang Yoo-min leading to the playoff. Hwang was eliminated in the first round and Bae and So battled through 2 more. Bae clinched victory by sinking a birdie putt after So had missed hers. This marks her second win of the season following her first KLPGA victory in May, earning her around $135,000 in prize money.
All right, thanks for that roundup. I'll see you next time.
Thank you.
As the 9th typhoon of the season, Typhoon Jongdari, which occurred early this morning, moves North Korea, will be directly affected by it tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, when the typhoon is close, more than 30 millimeters of rain per hour will fall around Jeju Island and the southern coast. There will be more than 100 millimeters of heavy rain until Wednesday, and as much as 80 will fall in other regions in the south. While heatwave warnings are being issued in most parts of the country, they've been in place for 20 days in Seoul. There are still many places where the feels-like temperatures rise to around 35 degrees Celsius during the daytime. These hot conditions will continue throughout the week. Tomorrow morning will start off with hot conditions all over the country. Highs will move up to 35 in Seoul and Gyeongju, Daejeon 36 degrees. On Wednesday and Thursday, it will rain again across the country. That's all for Korea. Here are the weather conditions around the world.
And that is Newscenter for tonight. Thank you for watching. A panel session up next.